Nobody can answer this simple question. With the money from the carbon tax and your whole climate change tax scam, I suppose, in Canada, what are you going to do with the money? How is money going to fix climate change? Nobody's able to answer that, which raises the question, are we being scammed? Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I'd like to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps grow the channel. We are this close from 300,000 subscribers, which is like 15 to 500 times bigger than what Justin Trudeau's YouTube channel is. We're fighting the Trudeau algorithm. We're fighting mainstream and legacy media. We're doing a fantastic job. And well, how about I just shut up and get into the video? You got Justin Trudeau warns of more frequent extreme weather. And why this is important to know is the worse weather gets, the more we get taxed, because logic.
We know, unfortunately, that extreme weather events are going to become more and more frequent over the coming years with climate change. And that means we're going to have to continue learning, continue looking at how to prepare for the coming years, how to work even better together. As for the lessons learned from this, well, first we're going to focus on getting through this particular season, giving all the resources we can and people need to be able to stay safe and get through this particular fire season. But at the same time, we're going to have lots of conversations about what is needed for the coming years to make sure that we're able to keep Canadians safe and able to deal with the extreme weather events that are continuing to come.
What really irks me is that not one member of Parliament has acknowledged that people have been arrested for the fires that are on screen, right? The Canadian wildfires that are just getting out of control and spread into New York City and made it look like an apocalypse, right? Like that, a lot, maybe not a lot, but some, at least, at the very least, some, if not more, but to cover our bases, some have been human caused, whether it's intentional, somebody going into the fire with a Bic lighter and a match and starting a fire in the forest, or whether it's somebody throwing a cigarette or dry dirt on the back of someone's quad or motorcycle and then catching, heating up, catching fire on something that's dry. Like, we don't know. There's so many different ways for something to be human caused, but no one's acknowledging it. And so they're using and weaponizing current events, which some of it is human caused, under the guise of climate change, and they're adding an additional tax on top of the first carbon tax. They're adding a second carbon tax. So gas is not only going up 25 cents, it's actually going up about 50 to 60 cents. And how is that going to fix the weather? Nobody's able to answer that. And that's a very frustrating thing that we're having to deal with and live with. Justin Trudeau pledges billions to fight climate change. A Star reality check found much of that money hasn't been spent. The federal government failed to spend billions of dollars it pledged on a host of climate change initiatives in recent years, raising questions about one of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's core policy commitments and the massive funding publicly devoted to it. Here's Justin Trudeau just piling up the money, nothing to spend it on, because again, I urge you in the comments to try and answer the question, what would you do with billions of dollars to fix this climate change? How are you going to prevent storms from happening? Is it going towards repairing the damage of storms and hurricanes and wildfires? I mean, that would be something very easy and simple to say, but no, they're not saying that. They're saying, give us more money through taxes and we will fix climate change, and hurry, because climate change is going to kill us and it is right around the corner, which just makes you have to question things. Are we being lied to? Are they manipulating us? And well, the answer always feels, or at least lately has felt, like a strong yes. Let's continue reading this article. Ottawa, the federal government failed to spend billions of dollars of pledge on a host of climate change initiatives in recent years, raising questions about one of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's core policy commitments and a massive funding publicly devoted to it, a Star analysis has found. The revelations shed light on sometimes stark difference between what the government intends to do and what it delivers. It also highlights concerns about whether the federal bureaucracy can meet the climate crisis with the urgency it demands, as the Trudeau Liberals boast of making $200 billion in long-term climate commitments since they took off in 2015. But again, what the actual hell does any of this mean? And this is putting our country into massive, massive debt. You want to go into debt for student loans? Okay, at least you're getting, like, potentially, if you pass, you're getting a certificate or a diploma out of it. You want to go into debt because of medical bills? At least you're getting something in return. You're getting a medical service, right? Like a procedure or a surgery or something like that. You want to go into debt to fix the climate? What are you doing with our money? The government has pledged billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're putting us in debt because they're giving rebates to people, they're taxing, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Let's watch very, very well-renowned Chrystia Freeland, who has the utmost support of most Canadians. He says sarcastically, talk about how, basically bragging about how she's putting us Canadians into debt.
There's $21 billion here over the next 5 years for green transition, mostly in tax credits. It's a lot of money, but given the stakes, the inflection point you've talked about, and the need to capitalize on this opportunity, I wonder if it's enough compared to the scale of what Joe Biden has put on the table in the Inflation Reduction Act.
Well, I think that it is. And you have to remember it comes on top of tax credits that we put forward in previous budgets. It comes on top of our price on pollution. It comes on top of entities that we have that lend money at good terms to clean finance companies, so like the Canada Growth Fund, the Canada Infrastructure Bank. So I think when you take everything together, the Canadian package is absolutely competitive with the US package. I think this is an investment that we're going to look back on and say, this launched the Canadian economy for the 21st century.
Your officials in the briefings earlier today said you need $100 billion in global capital every year to make this work. I mean, when you look at $20 billion over 5 years in tax incentives, do you think you can get to the level that you get $100 billion every year investing into the clean economy transition?
I think that we can get our fair share. I think we can get more than our fair share because, again, David, like we've made a major investment this year, but it is part of a much bigger package. So yeah, I think we can get there. And the one other thing I would mention, because investors say this to me, what does Canada have to offer in this global race? We have these incentives, we have our government policy, we have natural resources. Like nature has given us such an advantage. And we have Canadians. You know, I was talking.
It really pisses me off that she's saying that we have natural resources, yet the Liberals are against using one of our largest, most rich resources here in Canada, oil. We have one of the world's largest oil reserves, and the Liberals say, no, we're going to buy dirty oil from the Saudis. We're going to keep our oil in the ground and we're going to outsource it. You know, it's basically like saying instead of making products here, we get it from China because that's better for the economy. Yet we know China's regulations and policies are way less, have a shittier standard than what Canada does.
To a Canadian car part producer who said absenteeism at the US plants that this person runs was 25%. In Canada, it's 8 or 9%. So we have all these advantages. I think we're going to get there.
But I know when you met with the provincial finance ministers earlier this year, it delivered the message that you can't meet this challenge alone. So is the $21 billion over 5 years, $80 billion by 2034, is that everything you needed to do or everything you were able to do to meet this moment?
Well, when I said can't meet it alone, thank you for remembering that, because message to provinces, you guys have a strong fiscal position right now. The federal government supported you a lot on healthcare. We supported you a lot during COVID. And when it comes to supporting investments in the clean economy, provinces are going to need to be at the table too. And I'm confident they will be.
So is there anything you weren't able to do on this particular front? I know one of the issues, things in the subsidies is that the higher the wages you pay, the prevailing wage, which is adopting something right out of Joe Biden's plan in the United States, tied to union wages plus pension benefits and other benefits. The closer you are to that, the larger the subsidy you will get. Is there anything you weren't able to put in this package because of the fiscal reality you're facing with the slump in the economy?
To be honest, David, I am very happy with where we've landed on our clean energy plan. And, you know, when you talk about the weakening of the economy, yeah, that's happening, but it's not a surprise. And actually, it's on purpose, right? The Bank of Canada has raised interest rates very high, very quickly.
Wait, what? The weakening of the economy is on purpose?
Yeah, that's happening, but it's not a surprise. And actually, it's on purpose, right? The Bank of Canada has raised interest rates very high, very quickly, because it wanted to slow down the economy. And in this budget, we're saying it's a budget for today, but it's also a budget seeing past this slowdown and saying we need to put in place the conditions to build the economy to have great middle-class jobs.
This is crazy. I can't believe I didn't come across this earlier. They've purposely screwed us. It's not an accident. And they're blaming it on other countries. They're saying it's the illegal invasion from Russia into Ukraine, and it's a global thing. Yet she just said they are strategically bending us over here in Canada and screwing us because, well, it's on purpose. What the hell? I can't believe I just came across that. That's insane. But I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Do you think that that we should take this? Like, what the hell is going on? How do we go about this? How do we fight this? I mean, one of the best ways that we've found recently is social pressure by sharing videos like this, getting them circulating, getting them millions of views, getting things trending on Twitter. I know it sounds so stupid and superficial, but the reality is, not to sound like a liberal, but the reality of the situation is that did play a massive part in David Johnston resigning, was the amount of pressure, the amount of Canadians, how hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people collectively came together and said, no, that's wrong. We're not going to stand for that. So we should be doing something about this too. But nonetheless, that's where we're going to end the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.